Before you try any sleep training method tonight, take a pause. In this video, I'm breaking down 4 of the most common sleep training approaches parents use, why they actually work, and the one thing that you absolutely need to understand before choosing one for your baby. Because here's the truth, sleep training isn't a one-size-fits-all, and number 3 is the absolute secret sauce for high-need sleepers. By the end of this video, you'll stop guessing and start sleeping because you'll finally have a clear roadmap to a 12-hour night. A quick note though before we start. Please know this is not medical advice. This is my advice as a pediatric sleep consultant and mom of 2. It's really important before you try to let your baby sleep longer stretches that you check with their pediatrician to make sure they are developmentally ready to have longer stretches at night. If the idea of closing the door and walking away makes your stomach churn, you need to hear the science behind why it works and why it's not for everyone. Formerly known as full extinction, this is where you put your baby down awake and then don't return until morning unless there's an emergency. It is ultimately the fastest method on the market, usually working in about 3 to 5 nights. The payoff here? Time. You can regain 15 plus hours of evening freedom a week. And the science behind it is simple. While we think it's one of the most natural things we do, sleep is still a skill that needs to be learned. When babies fall asleep independently at bedtime, they're more likely to connect their sleep cycles overnight without needing assistance. When babies need things like rocking or being held to fall asleep, those things we call sleep associations. This drives frequent night wakings because when you leave the room, they can't use you to fall back asleep. You remove the association and the waking decreases. But here's the really important consideration. Age matters, temperament matters, and parental comfort matters. Some babies really do respond quickly. Others escalate significantly, and if parents feel anxious or are inconsistent, it can just drag out the process longer than necessary. I know it sounds intense, but for many families, the short-term protest leads to a lifetime of better health for the baby. If you're a rip off the Band-Aid kind of person, this might be your winner. Before choosing any method, make sure your baby's schedule supports independent sleep. If timing is off, no method really works well. Download my free sleep chart below. It removes the guesswork around wake windows and bedtime. What if you could support your baby in intervals without staying in the room until your legs fall asleep? The fervor or check and console method is the most popular middle of the ground method involving timed check-ins where you go in and offer a pat, a shush, and then leave the room again. This method pays you back in confidence. You learn your baby's different cries and realize they're capable of self-soothing while knowing that you're still there. It usually takes about 7 to 10 days to see a full night's sleep. The key consideration for this includes, can you stay consistent? Can you keep check-ins brief? And can you tolerate some protest? It's totally okay to need that visual check-in for your own peace of mind. You aren't failing if you go in the room, you're building a bridge to independence. Now, the fervor or check and console method is great, but there is a specific reason why it actually makes some babies angrier, and I'll explain why that is in just a minute. Here's the one that you've been waiting for, the method that allows you to be right there as the safety net while your baby learns the hard work of falling asleep. This is also the method I see the most long-term success with my clients. So how do you do it? Basically, you sit in a chair right next to the crib while your baby falls asleep. Every few nights, you move the chair further and further away until you're out the door. This is a gold mine for parents with high separation anxiety. The ROI here is emotional peace. You get to witness the transition happen in real time, which reduces parent guilt significantly. On the downside, it is one of the slowest methods, taking typically 2 weeks on average, but the foundation it builds is rock solid. If you're worried about abandoning your baby, this is your permission to stay. You can be a responsive parent and a sleep training parent at the same time. If you're still not sure if you'd rather do check-ins or stay in the room, one really important consideration is your baby's temperament. Remember how I said some babies get angrier with check-ins? That's because some babies can actually escalate more when they see you but aren't picked up. Others calm easily with just brief reassurance. Are you feeling like the chair method is your vibe, or are you more of a Ferber fan? Comment below with team stay or team check-in. I'd love to see where you're at. Also, it's important to remember if your baby isn't tired enough, if bedtime is too late, if naps are too long, no method will stick. This is exactly why I created my free sleep chart, so you know whether the issue is method or timing. Grab it below. Now, let's talk about the approach many parents default to, doing nothing structured at all. Responsive settling, feeding, or rocking fully to sleep every time, hoping that sleep stretches just improve with age. And here's the truth. Sometimes they do. But often what happens instead is waking up every 45 to 90 minutes, early mornings, and increasing dependency on assistance. Sleep associations tend to become stronger over time. This also doesn't mean that you must sleep train. It means you just should be intentional about how baby falls asleep, whether conditions are consistent night to night, whether your schedule supports consolidated sleep. There is no medal for exhaustion, and there is no shame in teaching sleep skills either. The goal isn't perfection, it's sustainability. Before choosing any method, you have to look at the 3 pillars that make any of these methods actually stick. This is the pre-work: temperament, environment, and schedule. If your baby is overtired, no method on earth will work. Getting the schedule right pays you back in predictability. Sleep training works when baby is developmentally able to sleep longer stretches. Always ask your pediatrician. The schedule supports sleep pressure. Parents can stay steady for 5 to 7 nights, and expectations are realistic. It fails when parents second guess themselves nightly, methods change midweek, and timing is off. Consistency is what teaches the skill, not the label of the method. You don't have to be a scientist to get this right. You just have to be consistent. Once you align the method with your lifestyle, the results will follow. To make sure your schedule is actually ready for sleep training, download my free sleep chart right now. It's the exact chart that I use with my private clients to ensure that we don't have a sleep training fail. You are doing an incredible job, and wanting sleep for yourself and your baby is a gift, not a selfish act. Sleep training isn't about choosing the best method. It's about choosing the right approach for your baby's temperament, your comfort level, and your schedule, and then sticking with it long enough for it to work. You don't need to rush into anything tonight. Just make sure your foundation is solid first. And if you want help making sure that naps, wake windows, and bedtime are aligned before you start, download my free sleep chart below. It takes 2 minutes and removes so much guesswork. You deserve sleep too, and you can do this. Now that you know the 4 most common sleep training methods, you might be wanting to learn the best way to set up your baby's environment for all-night sleep. But how do you do that? It all starts by watching this video next. because when you pair what you've just learned with what's in this video, it's way more powerful.